One of the biggest things that I see wrong in ad accounts nowadays is the fact that nobody actually names things properly. All you chads out there, some of you even still rip new ad set and new ad 1, new ad 3, or copy of new ad, and I'm just sitting there like, how do you even know what's happening? And the truth is most of you guys don't actually know what's going on. And so in this week's video, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna walk you through the exact naming schemes that we use to manage over $2 million a month in ad spend profitably, and do so in a way that is somewhat organized. Okay, it's not like the most perfect naming scheme ever, but this thing is on like version 6, and we've gone pretty deep into making sure that we name things the right way to be able to get the data that we want to get. And for those of you that actually stick around and watch the video, you're actually going to be able to see how we build reports that actually give us more data on what is performing better in the account, so that way we could actually do more of the types of ads that are working versus the ads that are not working so much. So with that said, if you are someone that does not name your ads at all, or you're someone who just has some kind of random naming scheme that you came up with or that you saw somewhere and you're looking for a better one, or maybe you're just a returning viewer and you want to see what else we do to drive performance, because indirectly this does actually drive performance, then you're definitely going to want to watch this video. So with that said, here are the naming conventions, and the first thing that we're actually going to start with is the ad files. And this is something that makes my head hurt, because some of you guys have media buyers launching the wrong ads, and the craziest part about this is that some of you guys have media buyers that are launching ads that are not the actual ads that you think they are, and then you forget to check them and you're like, oh well, those ads didn't work. And then maybe if you're smart, you do learnings and you realize like, oh wait, the media buyer launched the wrong ads. Those aren't even the ads that we were supposed to launch. And so naming your files can help avoid those kinds of mistakes. And I'm laughing because I've been there. Again, it's so important to make sure that your editors start this process and are actually included in the naming scheme side of things, because if they are not, your media buyers are going to be confused. And then on top of that, the likelihood that you launch wrong ads, or you are taking false learnings on ads, or you're not actually running the right ads in general, is going to increase unless you actually name your files properly. And so as you can see here, we obviously use client's name because we are an agency, but you guys can just use your brand name, or especially if you have multiple brands, I've seen that happen before, or you could just start things at the batch level. And so the first thing here is we have batch number. And so this is the batch number that our creative team actually adds. So again, whenever we make a new batch of ads, we call it batch number 1. The next batch of ads is batch number 2, and then batch number 3. And just so you guys know, a batch of ads is 3 specific ads following the 3-2-2 method, which if you guys need more information on how we run Facebook ads, I have an entire video that's like an hour long that shows you how we run Facebook ads. So if you want to see that, you can go check that out after this video. With that said, we then have edit number. And so what we actually have here as well is edit number is if our editors actually make their own ads. And so this is just kind of a little nugget for those of you that have editors that, maybe you want to develop them further, or maybe you actually want them to do more than just like be a robot and edit ads all day. And for any editors watching this, like you guys should do this as well, is that whenever our editors actually make their own ads, so they just go and use Claude or use and follow the systems that we have in Evolve or wherever else to actually make ads, they make their own ads and then they label it as edit number, meaning that it's their own batch. Okay, so this is the batch number for editor develop ads. So this doesn't include our creative strategist or myself or our creative director. This is just like, hey, our video editor had some extra time to make ads, and so he made ads, or our graphic designer had extra time to make ads, so he made ads. And so this is not something that goes alongside at batch number, but edit number would replace batch if it's not actually done by our creative team. Now, if you don't have a creative team and it's just you, then obviously you would just use batch number. But say, for example, your editor is like really gung-ho and like wants to make ads for you as well, we actually label those differently just so we can see what ads are made by the editors and what ads are actually made by our entire team. Okay, and then from there we have the concept name. So that's the name that we give the concept or the group of ads. So you'll see some of those examples down here as well. We then have format. So format is the creative type, and I love putting this in the file name because then it actually helps us with, again, processing learnings. Again, you're going to see examples of this in our ad account as well, and just makes it obvious. So again, we have video, we have image, and we have promo. So promo is mainly for like when we're running Black Friday specific ads or limited time sales and stuff like that, Halloween ads, all that kind of stuff. We then have type, which is the type of creative. So we have ideation, iteration, and imitation. ideation. And basically what this stands for is ideations are like net new ideas. Iterations are obviously iterations of anything. So of usually our own ads, I would say. So if we test an ad and then we do a different version of it, that's an iteration. And then an imitation is when we're just basically replicating an ad that we saw, or, you know, we see someone else running this ad idea and we just decide to run it ourselves as well. That's what an imitation is. Just so you guys know, you don't need to get confused by this, but just understand that we usually don't run as many imitations. We usually run mainly ideations and iterations. And then we have editors. So this is the person that's actually responsible for the editing. And this is crucial for those of you bigger brand owners to actually understand like who edited the videos and who edited the files. So that way you can actually track the performance as well. We're going to get into that too. And then we have variant number, which is the variation number. And now this is very, very important because again, for each batch, there is 3 ads. And so we need to make sure that we're tracking V1 versus V2 versus V3 so that when we get into the actual ad naming side of things, we are actually aware of what to name the ads. Because a lot of the times you'll see this sets the pace for how we actually name our ads and our ad sets moving forward. Okay, so the editors are kind of responsible for a lot of this stuff here, but as you can see, we have CarePod, batch number 122, stainless steel, video, idea, made by Dale, version or variation number 2. If you want an actual example of this as well, you can see this is how we actually name them. So for example, again, batch number 65, this is the kid educational ad. It's an image, IMG. It's an imitation, meaning we saw another ad and we just decided to make it our own. And then this was made by one of our graphic designers. And again, this is variation 2. Okay, and so that is an example of how we actually name our files. And in case you're wondering what this is called Frame.io. We love this for especially videos. Obviously, we use it for images as well, but this is how we keep all of our creatives in a nice, organized way. And for those of you that don't know how Frame works, what's really cool about Frame is you can actually leave comments at specific timestamps where you can say, you know, take this clip out. And for example, it will actually post it right there. And so that way you can see like, oh, as a person reviewing ads, I want to, make sure that the editor fixes this clip specifically. So if you're someone that uses a Google Drive and like asks to go at this timestamp or that timestamp, like Frame is going to save your life. When I first found out about Frame, I was like, man, this is insane. And so this is Frame.io, and this is what we use to review videos and images. And again, we put them bundled by each concept inside of a folder inside of Frame. So that is how we organize our creatives as well, and also how we name our files. Now, I know for a lot of you, this might be a little bit boring, but I'm promising you, like, this is so crucial. Like, how you do one thing is usually how you do everything. Not all the time, but I honestly highly encourage, like, those of you who are kind of lazy and don't really care about naming because it's like, it's whatever. Like, I'm telling you guys, like, this is so crucial for completing feedback loops and actually knowing what is going on in your account and actually being able to pull data. Because again, I'm going to show you a report at the end that shows us something that was like mind blowing to me to see, like, holy cow, like, we are not making a lot of money with this, but we are making way more money with this. And so we need to double down on doing this thing that's making us more money. And that wouldn't be possible without these naming schemes. So again, I know this stuff is a little bit slow and a little bit boring, but I promise you it is so important. So let's go ahead and jump back in. All right, so now as you can see, we're going to get down into the ad account naming section here, okay? And so this is when we're actually naming the ads specifically, so naming all ads in the ad accounts. And so as you can see here, I'm probably gonna lose some of you, but I have examples of this again. But essentially what we have here is we have batch number, UGC number, and page number, okay? And so what this means is this is a specific number for each creative batch or each page. Now, for us specifically, we like to separate our UGC. And so we track UGC number and creative strategy number, so batch numbers separately, and obviously pages, landing pages separately, because we have a UGC system that works with product seeding and kind of more creators that just make content on demand, like not with our actual creative team overly involved. And so that's why we like to track it differently to be able to see, hey, how is UGC performing versus just our creative strategy in general? And you guys are going to see that as well, okay? And so again, this is the first tracker that we use. The next one here is concept, creator, page name, or sale name. Now, for the sake of this, again, it's just very simple. It's the name of the concept, the creator's name, or the page name. Again, so you'll see some examples down below. And then we have the URL, and the URL is so crucial to track as well, because again, you guys need to know where you're sending your traffic, right? You guys can go into your ads report, like I'm going to show you, and figure out, okay, what page is getting the highest percentage of spend in my ad account right now? Is it the collection page? Is it the PDP? Is it the home page? Is it this landing page A, landing page B? And then on top of that, you can also see specific conversion rates on those pages or specific AOVs on those pages. And that's why naming your stuff is so important, because it gives you data. And now we get into the next one here, which is format, which is, again, we have video, we have image, we have promo, we have raw, and we have creator. Just understand raw, you don't need to worry about that. It's basically just when we get raw content in from content creators, which is why we call it raw. And then creator are actually our in-house creators. And so we actually like to track basically new creators versus existing creators. So creators that we have on a retainer versus creators that are just brand new. And that's a whole other strategy. And again, I can go deeper onto that another point, but trying to stick to the naming schemes here. We then have type. So this is the creative type. Again, ideation, iteration, imitation. We already went through this in the file section, but this is where we use it in the ads as well. We then have the editor. Again, we want to track who is actually responsible for this. We then have the variation number. And then we also track the copy number and the headline number that actually goes around the ad. Okay. Because we also want to see the performance of specific ad copies in the account. And now if we scroll down, you'll see some examples of this. Okay, so we have batch number 16. It's the armpits concept. Okay, I don't know why it's called armpits, but it is. We then are sending this to the PDP, which is the product page. Okay, this is a video. It's an ideation. It was edited by John. This is variation 2 and has copy 14, 20, and headline 3 and 78. Now, again, I know this sounds insane, but as you get used to this stuff and as your eyes see it, this kind of string of all these random letters and numbers will actually make sense. And you'll be able to actually read it in a way where it's like, oh, I know exactly what's working here. And better yet, you can actually filter this stuff inside of your reporting studio. Just to give you guys another example as well, again, we have UGC number 4. So again, this is the 4th UGC that we got. It's by girl creator. Okay, it's running to a buy two, get one LP. It's a raw ad. Again, it's a new creator that we, are testing. This is variation 3 because we always add cuts to each and every single video that we get from creators as well. Again, I have an old video on my channel called The Real Strategy. I'm probably going to make an updated one because that strategy alone actually helped us scale a brand to spending over 15K a day as well. So this is, again, variation 3, copy number 2 and 3, headline number 1 and 5. And then you guys can see the other example down here. Now let's go ahead and actually jump into an ad account here as well. And again, this is how it looks inside of Meta. Okay, batch number 22. This is the speed angle, right? It's going to the listicle V1 LP. It's a video. It's an ideation. It was edited by Cam. It's variation 3 with copy number 2, number 17, headline number 2, and number 10. So I promise you, we do actually follow our naming schemes as well. Okay, I'm not just showing this to you guys for fun. This is something that we live by. And again, as you can see, now we have the learnings visually that V1, V2, and V3, out of the 3 that we tested, V2 is clearly the top performer, right? And so now what we can do, and top performer, not be based on a ROAS, but based off of purchase volume, okay, and purchase conversion volume. But at the end of the day, this is, again, how we are able to track this stuff at the ad level. It's by having naming schemes to be able to identify this stuff. And again, as I'm going to show you very, very shortly here, how to actually filter through this inside of the ad account as well. This is also extremely helpful when you're doing learnings, because for example, if I just want to search up the speed angle, ad name contains speed, when I'm in the ad account trying to find ads, I just type in the ad name and boom, I can find it, right? I'm not scrambling around, oh, is it this ad? Is it that ad? And it sounds dumb, but a lot of you guys are wasting hours a week just trying to find ads, where if you just have a proper naming scheme and you just actually name your ads properly, you can actually save time by going back through. And this should actually encourage you to do learnings as well, which is the whole reason why I'm kind of doing this video. And I'm going to tie that back around at the end. But my point is that is how we name ads on the ad level. Now, when it comes to the ad set level, this is another thing that I see so many people just, they don't name it properly, and it pains me, because some of you guys are running inclusions instead of exclusions. You're running the wrong ages, you're running in the wrong countries, and it's like stuff is just, it's a nightmare. Okay, and so what we actually do here is when we are doing our ad set naming, we still add the batch number or the edit number or the UGC number or the page number. You guys don't have to worry about client number, or champions, which is an ad set that you guys will see. And again, this is the specific number for each creative batch, or it's the champion's ad set specifically. And I'll explain to you, if you don't know the champion's ad set, you'll see it very shortly. And then we again have the concept, creator, promo name, or post ID. Okay, this is the name given to the concept, page, creator name, or the champion specific name, because again, we use post IDs inside of our champion's ad set. We then have audience, country, age, gender, attribution, and exclusions. And so as you can see here, this is an example of how our ad set would actually look. And what you'll notice is we actually are including basically the batch number and the ad number, or the concept name, inside the ad set level as well, because we actually do a lot of our monitoring for new concepts based on the ad set level. Every single day, I literally jump into the ad account. I will come in here and I will just filter by spend. Okay, what ad sets are getting the most amount of spend? Oh, it looks like the champion's ad set is getting the most amount of spend. Okay, got it. And what I look for every single day is there a new ad set that is outspending the champion's ad set? Now, when it comes to actually naming these, there's actually a cool little trick that you can do when you are actually building naming templates, which is going to be my first little sidebar here. If you actually go and just click into one of your ad sets, you can do this at the campaign level, ad set level, or ad level, and you click create template, you can actually create a template by using dynamic fields as well. Okay, and so we used to do this. However, now we use a separate tool and we just manually name it. And I trust my media buyers that they actually follow the templates and go through, and we actually have a fail safe where we will add columns instead. And I'll show you how to do that as well. But if you click add component here, you can basically build this naming scheme inside of Meta. So that way it's like, you can just like have it templated. Okay. And so here you could do an open text field and you could just call this batch number. And for the sake of this video, I'm just kind of show you one of these, right? And then you can add another one here that says ad set field, and you can add age, and then you can also add gender, and you can also add, let's go down and put country, okay? And you can add some of these dynamic fields here. You can also add custom audiences, which let's go ahead and do that as well. So again, ad set field, we can use custom audience excluded, and then we can also add custom audience included. And if you click save on this, what's really, really cool is I'm just going to add test here, and my media buyer is going to kill me. But if I close this, you can see this entire naming scheme just updated, and look at everything that is included in here. Okay, this is test, so it's 18 to 65. It's targeting all genders, and this has the US, it has IE, Mexico, NL. I don't even know all these countries, right? It's then also excluding the website pixel purchasers, and like you can see how long this naming scheme is getting, right? And also excluding Klaviyo Sync purchasers, but this is actually dynamically polling the information based on the actual template. And again, if you click edit template, it's going to take you into the settings where you can edit that and change that. And you guys can do this on the campaign level, on the ad set level, and on the ad level as well. And now the reason why this is so valuable for a lot of you guys that maybe have media buyers that you have trust issues with, you can actually have them follow these templates, and then you can make sure that they're actually targeting the right people, okay? Because again, what's really cool about this is if I change the gender on this, and I probably don't want to publish this or mess with this too much because it actually, I believe, is a winning ad. But if I go ahead and I just change the gender on it, so let me go ahead and do that. Well, actually, instead of gender, because I found age sooner, we're just gonna go ahead and change this to like, let's go minimum age is 23, okay? See how that just updated? That just updated automatically to 23 to 65, okay? And so it doesn't pull it based off of what you put there. It pulls it based off of what is actually being shown. And now again, I trust our media buyers, which is why I allow them to name it without these dynamic fields, because we actually use a different tool called Kitchen.io because we launch so many ads. But this actually can be a fail-safe for a lot of you guys to make sure that you're actually targeting who you're trying to target in this campaign with the right age, with the right genders, with the right exclusions, etc. Okay, and so in that instance, if you do want to just have a different fail-safe, like I mentioned, I showed you guys can also add these columns into your ads manager as well. And so if you add, for example here, audience age, which is in the ad settings, and let's just say we add gender here as well, and we add country, or I believe it's countries or location, I think it's actually called inside of the ad setting. Yeah, so audience, location, ad settings. If you save all of this in here and then you scroll all the way to the right, you can also double check everything here as well. And so this has the audience setting, setting, the gender setting, and the location setting. But my point is it's very important to track this stuff at the ad set level, because this is actually going to help you spot some kind of errors. And I'm telling you guys, like, this seems like it's dumb, but sometimes I have seen, we've done this before, media buyers, they're like so tired from launching so many ads where like they think they're running ads in like worldwide, like US or like big five, like US and New Zealand, Australia, and all that kind of stuff. And then turns out they were only advertising in the US, and they're like, oh, we're not launching top 5. What the heck? Or for example, they duplicate an ad set and they thought they're targeting, men only, but they're actually targeting women only, right? And so my point with this is like, it's just a fail safe to make sure, especially if you have a media buyer that's like making mistakes, or like it's kind of, you're not sure if they're doing a, the right targeting, and you don't want to have to add all this extra QA. Just tell them to use templates, and it could be a great way to kind of save some time. But the bigger issue there is you should probably train your team better, or just find a better team member. Now, those of you are probably wondering, like, where's the campaigns? Well, for the campaign level, we keep it very, very simple. As you can see here, all we add is our actual agency name. We have 2 campaign types. It's main and it's promo. That's it, okay? And then we have what genders we're targeting, what audiences we're targeting. It's always going to be broad. We then have which attribution setting we're using. Here we're using 7-day click. And then let's just double check that our team is actually doing that. Aha, look at the Easy A team actually doing what they're saying they're doing. And then we have AU, CA, UK. So we actually put the countries in here as well. And then it's always going to be CBO with us. If you're new to the channel, again, the video that I mentioned earlier will actually walk you through our entire strategy. But that is how we name our campaigns. Very, very simple. And going back to the one thing that I skipped over a little bit, for those of you like, what's a champions ad set? This is our champions ad set here, okay? And so the champions ad set is basically an ad set where we put all of our winning ads. Again, it's inside of this one campaign. So inside of this one campaign, we're going to have all of our creative testing, all of our page testing, but we're also going to have a champions ad set, which is just kind of like an anchor for all of our winning ads. And now if you don't have winning ads, then you don't have a champions ad set. But as soon as you find a winning ad, well, now you have a champions ad set. You can create a new ad set. You can copy that ad in there. So duplicate that ad in there, or just use the post ID. Okay. And then whatever you do, make sure you leave that actual ad running, and you also leave it running in the champions ad set. Okay. And so if you're still confused on that, you guys can check out the video that talks about how to run ads on Facebook and how we do it. But that is it for the naming schemes. Okay. And now for those of you that actually made it all the way to the end, the reason why this is important is because of this right here. Okay. So inside of an ad report here, as you guys can see on screen, you can see that I can begin to start to add filters for our actual ads. And so as you can see here, I added a filter called UGC. And so what I'm looking at here is, how is our UGC performing? Well, so far, the last 30 days, our UGC has spent $203,000 at a 1.8x return on ad spend. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm pretty happy with how our UGC is performing, right? And how am I coming up with these filters? Where am I getting these filters from? It's coming from inside of here. Okay, well, let's maybe take a look at how much spend our landing pages are getting. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to add a different naming scheme here. And let's just say ad name contains page. Actually, I forgot, for this brand, we use it's ELP, but bear with me. You guys don't need an ELP. This is just a more complex account. But as you can see here, our landing pages for this brand specifically are spending about $188,000. Now, if we look at our total EAM spend, we can see our total EAM spend is about $795,000. So, seeing that our landing pages are spending about 188 compared to the other, 500 basically, or 600 that are being spent on the client's existing landing pages. Obviously, we've got a little bit more work to do there, but it's still good to see that we're spending around $188,000 a month just on landing pages that our team has developed. Well, how about we take a look at something more granular? How are our videos versus image ads doing? Well, let's go ahead and jump in and take a peek. So here we can type in video and just say ad name contains video. And we can see that for this brand specifically, we're spending over $388,000 on videos. Now, as you can see here, I just added another filter, and this is called creators. So what are our creators? So our in-house creators, these are creators that we've now onboarded. How much are we spending on their ads? Well, we're spending about $100,000 on in-house content creator ads. That's pretty good as well. And now let's go ahead and take a look at our new content creator ads. So this is going to add in our raw label. Well, raw label, we have $79,000. So it looks like our in-house creators are actually performing better than all of our new content creators that we're testing. Again, ROAS is pretty strong here.
Oh my God, bro.
But again, $79,000 there. And so my point with this is that when we are going through and actually trying to pull data and get an idea of like what we need to do more of and what we need to do less of, this is how these naming schemes are super, super helpful. Another one that I didn't even talk about is the difference between iterations, ideations, and imitations. So let me go ahead and add those in. Again, we're going to go ahead and copy this here, and let's go ahead and add imit to our actual filter. And we can see that we're only spending $4,000 on imitation ads, right? And that's because I tell my team that I hate imitation ads, and so we rarely do them. But let me go ahead and check out, let's take a look at ideation ads. So ad name contains ideation. Well, we're spending $65,000 on ideation ads. So ideation ads are doing a little bit better. But what about iteration ads? How are iteration ads doing? Well, iteration ads specifically are spending $271,000. So our iterations are what's actually allowing us to scale super hard, right? So from the UGC ads that we're doing, and for those of you that are wondering like, oh, why doesn't iterations, imitation, and ideation add up? It's because for this brand specifically, we also have UGC, which we don't count. We don't add iteration, ideation, or imitation to our UGC. So for example, if we add UGC to this, you can see that our total UGC is spending about $203,000. And then we also have another ad type, which is a bit of a secret. I'm gonna have to save that for another video, called Bounty, which you guys will see at some point. But essentially, that is how we're able to track, right? And so we can see that our iteration ads here are absolutely murdering, right? 271,000. That is like our best ad type. And so what we need to do is clearly we need to keep making ideations, and then from there, take those ideations and actually do iterations on them, right? Because if we're just doing ideation concepts and then not actually iterating on them, then we're clearly like leaving a lot of money on the table. Whereas you can see here, the iterations that we're doing are what's actually allowing us to scale and spend, again, for this brand specifically, over $790,000 a month on ads. And so again, as boring and as annoying naming schemes are, this stuff is super helpful for you guys to do one thing, and that's complete feedback loops, right? You need to understand what is working, why it's working, and I just showed you guys inside of a generic Facebook ad report. Most of you guys don't even know how to get to the Facebook ad reporting level, which for those of you that are wondering, you just hover over here and you go from campaigns to ads reporting, and you just create a report where you select your ad account, and that's it, okay? But my point is, having this data is crucial for completing feedback loops. This is also how I track my editors, right? And it's also how clients judge our performance in their ad account. They just go in and they type in EAM. How much are we spending on EZA media ads? Oh, we spent $800,000 last month. Probably pretty good to keep those guys on. You know what I'm saying, right? And so my point is this is crucial not only for your internal feedback loops to know what you need to do more of, but also to manage your team, manage your creative strategists. You guys can play with these naming schemes however you want. Hopefully this just shows you how we're actually thinking. And we actually take this a step further in Atria as well. So we use Atria reports to actually go deeper and splice data and do all kinds of cool stuff. Obviously a little bit more than we can do inside of the Facebook ad reporting system. But even then, this report is everything you need to kind of pick a direction or get a direction and go and follow it, right? And so at the end of the day, this is where something as boring as naming schemes can actually make you a ton of money. And why, again, if you're focused on doing the right things, which is creative testing, offer testing, landing page testing, getting UGC, testing in your account, and you're doing all those things, this can help you figure out what is working for you specifically so you can double down on it. Okay. And so that is it. That is how we use naming schemes to scale to, 100K days, and ideally this Q4 $1 million days. Okay. And that's how everybody that has actually, really scaled hard, they aren't using these naming schemes, but what they are doing is they are completing feedback loops. And these naming schemes are a way for you to get better at completing feedback loops, which is why I'm sharing them with you. So hopefully this makes sense. If you guys, again, have questions on the naming schemes, you can ask them down below, but sometimes I'm just I don't even know how to answer some of the questions that I get asked. So just watch the video again if you need to. There's obviously the doc there. I will attach it for you guys down below, and you guys can use it as you wish. But again, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want more videos like this and you want to get better at completing feedback loops, you want to get better at making creatives, you want to learn how we make ads that spend over $800,000 a month or just close to $800,000 a month, you can check out the Evolve program down below. It's right now the #1 community on all of Skool. Shout out to Skool. We love those guys, and what they're building over there is amazing. And so we're over there pushing, and it's a good time. We got a Discord. We got a lot of good stuff going on. So if you're interested in Evolve, I'd highly recommend checking it out, especially for Q4. Or if you're completely brand new, you're doing less than 100K per month, and you have a Shopify store and you're just wanting to get to that 100K per month level so that you can ideally get into Evolve, then I highly recommend checking out Origins as well. It's going to be the second link in the description down below. But with all that said, I'll leave it there. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this week's video. Hope it was valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.